Hi, this is Rick Phelps, the Global Unisys Lead for Portals, User Interface Design Standards, and Application Usability. This is one in a series of training videos on advanced techniques for using the prototyping tool called ProtoShare. Today we will take a close look at the tree view component, which is straight off the component palette, does not look like much, but it can be enhanced using CSS. I thank ProtoShare for providing the hooks into the production classes to make these advanced modifications. But let's first drag up onto the canvas the vanilla component of a tree view. And you'll notice compared to the ones on the right, it is quite plain. It has a folder as a top level icon and then sublayers underneath that represented by icons of a sheet of paper. So where we be going with our icon view in the tree view is to have 4 different levels: a cloud level, account level, a project level, and a machine level, which each have a unique icon represented at each of the levels. Then we will also do an advanced version where we have the same 4 levels, but on the 4th level we actually use different icons for each one of the machine types. But before we can get started with our tree view, we first need to have the icons that we're going to embed into the tree view CSS code. So these are the individual icons that have been assembled or designed for each of the levels. And you'll notice that in this particular case there's a fair amount of free space or white space around each one of the icons. For the best effect, it is best to be able to trim those icons down to just the bare minimum without the white space using something like Microsoft Picture Manager, or you could use Photoshop. So I've essentially taken the icons, trimmed them down to their minimum size, and then need to be able to import them into or upload them into the ProtoShare library. So what I'm showing you now is an example of clicking on one of the icons, and then I would then upload it into the library which you see I'm pointing to right now, which has the icons actually within the ProtoShare library. Now let's take a look at the tree view CSS code that we're going to include in the ProtoShare example that we're showing today. And you notice that there is code specified for each one of the levels within the tree view, starting with the first level icon, second level icon, third level icon, fourth level icon, and then a special case for a different kind of fourth level icon. I'm now highlighting the class names for each one of the levels. So my tree 1 through my tree 5. Now you'll notice a pattern here in the CSS code in that each level repeats the same set of code, but for every level it's repeated one more time. So that is what actually puts the icon in the proper spot within the tree view. What I'm highlighting here now is the actual URL within ProtoShare of how to obtain each one of the icons that will be represented at each one of the 4 levels. Now we will take the CSS code that we just wrote in Notepad and cut and paste it into the main style sheet for this particular project. Here's the code just as it appeared in the Notepad application, and there are the 4 levels plus a special version of the 5th level. And what I'm highlighting now is the URL for a particular icon. That's the icon for the first level. To show you how to get the URL for one of these icons, you click on the Assets Library, click on the icon, and then click on Get URL. And that is the URL that you actually use in the code that is just above. So that's how you find the URL for each of the. Okay, let's go back to our vanilla view of the tree icon and open it and actually go in and begin to edit the text that will appear in our tree view. We'll first start with the cloud level, so cloud 1, and then we will enter the account level, account 1 and account 2. And now we need to move to the project level, which means I'll hit return and then use the indent button in order to type in the first project level, the second project at that level, and the third project at that level. And then we need to be able to move to the fourth level, which is the machine level. So again, I use my indent button and I type in the different types of machines that are available at the fourth level, which is virtual machine, physical machine, as well as a virtual desktop. Now I'll go ahead and add in the other two clouds, Cloud 2 and Cloud 3. And then delete the last item since there are only 3 clouds in this example, so we can delete item 4, which was left over from the generic. Now save that and close the tree view. And now you can see we have the text for the indented tree all the way from the cloud right down to the machine level. Okay, now let's go ahead and double click on the tree component, which opens up the panel that shows its characteristics, and we will add the classes that we created in our CSS code just a few steps ago, which are myTree1, myTree2, myTree3, myTree4, each separated by a space. There is no myTree5 because that's a special case for the tree we'll be getting into in the next example. So now let's go ahead and close that panel, and now you notice we have our icons for each of the levels, all the way down from cloud right down to the machine level. And the next thing we need to do is to be able to assign a state such that when you click on each one of those lines in the tree view, you can assign a particular state that will take effect within the page. So here we have the cloud has 3 states, including the 0 state, so does the account and the project, as well as the machine level has the 3 states. Now that we've established our states, let's go back into the tree view, double-clicking on the component, click the Edit button, and now we need to assign the states to each one of the levels. Here you see we have an insert and a link. Here we can set a state with the lightning bolt, and here we can basically unlink, either break a state that has been established or a link that has been established. So let's go ahead and set what happens when you click on Cloud 1. Well, the first thing we want to do is to set the state so that Cloud 1 is showing. However, we also want to set the states on the other levels to 0. This is necessary so that we always reset the states that exist at the other levels every time we set a state. Now we skipped over account 1, we went to account 2 because we're only going to include account 2 in the example. We set account 2 to 2, and we also then set the other levels to the state of 0. So that again it would erase anything that already had appear, and again we skip project 1 and project 2, and again set the states such that we go to project 3, set that state, and then set all the other states to 0 so that they don't rebound when we click on a different state and they stay not in the 0 level. So let's go ahead into our actual machine view. Go ahead and create a first state for the first machine in the line, set the other ones equal to 0 so that they zero out. Let's go ahead and in this case set the second type of machine, which is the virtual machine, in which case this will be level 2. Within the virtual machines we set the other levels equal to 0, and then we go to the virtual desktop and we go ahead and set that state so that it'll be machine 3, and set the other levels equal to 0 as well. By double clicking off to the right here, I'm able to close that window. That was a little trick I was just using. Now go ahead and click Save, and let's go ahead and close the tree view. Alright, now we've completed our tree view. Now we need to test to see how the tree view works. So we're going to put up a series of boxes which we will then associate with a given state within the tree view just to demonstrate that it does work. These could be panels or pages or anything else on the page that you want to be able to turn on and off based upon the cloud. You notice I'm using a technique here which is called Alt drag and drop, where I'm holding the Alt key and then dragging an object which then produces a duplicate of it, which is a very easy and useful technique to be able to use on a regular basis. So I've now created 6 boxes and I'm going to label each one of the boxes. So the first one I'm going to call Cloud 1. Because that'll be the one that we turn on when we select Cloud 1. The second box I'm going to label is Account 2 because that'll be the box that goes on when we set Account 2. Then I'm going to set the third box to Project 3 so that when we click on Project 3 that state gets set and that box becomes visible. And I'm going to do each of the virtual machines. So I'll do each of the machines, the virtual machine, box, and then I will create a physical machine. Box, and from there I will then create the last box, which is the virtual desktop box. So now I have 6 objects which I can now associate states with that we can turn on and off from within the tree view. Now we need to assign a state to each one of the boxes so they will be visible when selected from the tree view. Here we are selecting for Cloud 1 that it should be visible, the box should be visible when Cloud 1 state is set. Now we're going to go to the account box and indicate that when the account state is equal to 2, that then the Account 2 box should be visible. And we'll do the same for the Project 3. We will set the state such that it's visible when Project 3 is selected out of the tree view. And now we'll go through each one of the machine types. Virtual machine is visible when the machine state is set to 1. The physical machine will set up the state so that it is the box is visible when the state is set to 2 under machine. And finally we will set the virtual desktop such that it is visible when the machine state is number 3. And now of course all of the boxes are invisible. Alright, now we're ready for the final test. Let's go into the interactive mode and actually try the tree view. We'll click on Cloud 1 and there's the Cloud 1 box. Click on Account 2 and Cloud 1 disappears but Account 2 appears. Click on Project 3. Again, Project 3 box appears and the others disappear, and the same is true for the virtual, the physical, and the virtual desktops. Appear and disappear. In fact, if we go back and click on Account 2, you notice it erased the boxes that were already displayed and showed only the one box. Alright, now we're going to return to our CSS code, but this time to introduce the class MyTree5 at the 4th level. And what we're going to do is introduce a blank pixel as the graphic that will be inserted where the icon would have gone, and that way it will clear out the icon so we can add our own icons. Alright, now we're going to return to our tree view, double click on it, and scroll down to the class section and replace the class ID MyTree4 with MyTree5, which will affect the 4th layer. As you see now, it's wiped out the icons that were previously there. Alright, now we're going to return to the tree component. Double click it to open it, click on Edit Content and place the cursor, and now we're going to insert an image. and we're going to use the selector icon in order to find the image in the library, and in this case we're looking for the virtual machine image. We'll select Save and Insert, and it inserted the virtual machine icon. Again, we'll place our cursor, click, go up and select Insert a Picture, select the picture from the library, and again click Save and then Insert, and it'll insert the picture. And again we put a space so it's not right on top of the text. Do it one more time for the virtual desktop. Click the selector, find the virtual desktop icon, save it, insert it, and put the space. Okay, so now we have, by closing out of the tree view, we now have a different icon at the fourth level for each one of the machine types. Okay, we're going to turn on our interactive mode and click on Cloud 1, and indeed we set the state so Cloud 1 appears, then Account 2 appears, then Project 3 appears, and then the virtual machine, physical machine, and virtual desktop boxes appear according to the states that have been set. Alright, let's go back to our tree view, turn on the interactive mode, and put it through its paces. We click on the arrow next to Count 2, and we see the animated collapse and expand. Same thing for Cloud 1. We could go back over, turn off the interactive mode, double click on the tree view component, turn off the animation, go back to the interactive mode, and now you notice that it's instant, the collapsing and expanding. There is no animation now with the tree view. It's instant when you click on an arrow. Now let's go back to the tree view and turn back on the animation, but turn off the use of the arrows, but instead show the lines, and go back into the interactive mode. And now you see we have minus signs and plus signs and arrows, and lines that run down the side of the page linking the various levels together. So again, animation and plus and minus signs along with the lines. Now let's go ahead and actually turn off the lines themselves. So now we have the boxes, the plus and minus sign boxes, but now there are no lines. So these are three different styles for the tree view that we can use, and again, expanding and collapsing. All the automation works properly. We turn off the interactive mode. And that concludes the advanced ProtoShare technique for the tree view today. I thank you for attending.